I'm the scat man. I'm the scat man.
Happy Friday, you pumpers. Welcome to NHL Puck Props presented by Sports Interaction with 14-year NHL vet Carlo Colaiacovo. The unders are the wagon of the end of January. They keep stacking last night. Last 15 games, 2 nights, 5 shutouts, bro.
That's crazy, man.
I mean, four of them have been Philadelphia and LA in back-to-back. Right?
It's true.
Yeah.
That is true. Man, I can't believe we didn't jump on that LA under, not the under, the shutout prop for Vasilevsky.
We alluded to it on the team total. I kind of gave it out as a lead. The Vancouver or the Kings team total under 2.5. It was plus money again. But we weren't sure about Vasilevsky's health. That was the thing that kept me off. And because he wasn't confirmed until late. So it's interesting. Hey, happy Friday there, everybody there in the chat. Good to see us as always. Hit that like button. Let's get things rolling. I appreciate it, Darren. Thanks for the lesson in losing. If you can't lose, then you're going to be a shitty winner, I think is the term. Right? You got kids.
Well, it's funny. I tell my son this just learning how to play hockey. I said,
that's exactly what I was going to touch on too. I was going to bring that up. Same thing. Go ahead.
Yeah. Like if you're going to be a winner in life, you've got to know how to handle losing. And if you can't handle losing, then you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. It's just, you got to try to manage. It's all about managing, especially in this industry.
No, I understand that too. Tell the same thing to the baseball team that I coach because kids struggle with it, right? Like losing,
nobody likes losing, but you know what happens.
Should have seen my high school football career. That's where you lay it down. Oh, that was an absolute display on losing. Just embarrassing. One time, the last game of the year, in front of the whole school, I told the school the whole football team will dress in women's clothing the next day if we lose. The whole school came out to watch. I think second play from scrimmage, I threw a pick 6. Dress.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you guys win?
No. We wore dresses the next day at school.
Oh, wow. So you set them up. You set up your whole team.
I didn't even ask anybody on the team. I just dropped it. I'm like, this is leadership. This is leadership. Oh, Canadian football.
Nice.
3 down. Oh, what a lesson in losing that was. But a 2-3 night here. We didn't get the Uyghur shots. That one sucked. I was heavy on that. Batherson under points somehow goes. The unders were cashing, but somehow that Washington-Ottawa game scores 8 billion goals.
Goal figure, eh?
The Winnipeg game goes 8 billion goals as well. Very interesting game. You see Ovi with some points. We wanted that one. Didn't get it, but we snuck the Batherson one there. Philly team total under was a layup. We kind of leaned on the LA Kings team total. Kokiem, we got him at plus 130, plus 125. He closed at plus 105, so we beat the number, but that was about it. So 2-3. We got some unders going. I see Insight had a good number there. He said that Fleury shutout was paying
plus 1,200.
12-1. So that one stinks.
Yeah.
I was looking at, that was the first thing I looked at this morning. What about a little round robin of shutouts on this Friday?
So who could we see a shutout from tonight?
I think Nashville has a better chance of being shut out than Buffalo. I think UPL has been the better goalie and Saros has been not great. I think there's some sneaky value. It's probably Lankinen, but there's some sneaky value in Dallas getting shut out. They lost their number 1 offensive defenseman in Mira Heiskanen. I think there's value on that. But I also think Vancouver could get shut out too. They're playing pretty well. Time for a dud. Columbus. What do you think about Columbus coming from an OT game winner in Vegas, now in Utah? We'll get to the rundown, but that's a tough travel spot, no?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've never been to Utah, but to me, I just look at Columbus as a whole. They've won their last 2 games. They've won them both in overtime. This is a team that's finding ways to win. The game against LA, they were plus 160. The game last night, they were plus 250 underdogs.
Woo.
I don't know, with the way they're playing, they're 7-2-1 in their last 10. This is great value you're getting. I don't care that it's back to back. I mean, because you look at Utah's lost 3 in a row. They've, they're not. I mean, they lost to Pittsburgh. They lost to Ottawa in Ottawa. I don't know. I can't get a good read on this Utah team, and for them to be minus 200 on the money line.
Yeah.
What have they earned to be like? What have they done to earn being minus 200?
It's just Columbus on the second of a back-to-back in the goalie situation that will be there.
Yeah.
I get you. Tanner Kramer in the chat says accidentally cashed out, hit the cash out button while looking at a bet ticket. That one hurts.
Mm.
I mean, if I was in charge of user interface, you'd have to click it twice. You can't just accidentally hit the cash out button that usually always favors the book.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one. And it hit as always as
isn't there like a 2-step?
Nah, not all the play, not everywhere, bud.
No,
you got to be careful. You got to be careful with those fingers over there. Columbus turning into an under team. Mike Ray, good point. Very good point, especially on the road.
Yeah, they are actually.
Like the all-in button in poker, yes. Oh, no, I hit the all-in or hit the fold. You need the double confirmation. It has to be Tarasov in net. Absolutely. And we're gonna get to all 4-game rundown. We got some time. No basketball pushing us today. So let's get right to it. Nashville, Buffalo plus 105 home favorite. Home dog over under sitting at 6.5. We got 2. 6.5. It's bouncing around between 6.5 right now. We are going Buffalo money line plus 105. We are going Philip Forsberg to go pointless at a whopping plus 185. And here's why. These are identical teams in points. They both have 43 points in 50 games. UPL has allowed 2 or fewer goals in 7 of his last 13. He's 8-5 straight up in those games with a .906 save percentage. He's been good. 3 straight games. Sub 90 save percentage. Buffalo coming off that big 7-2 win over Boston. If you've been following the trends, home dogs are hitting at 53% over the last 7 days, 50% over the last 30 days. Nashville road trip. They went Cali, and then they went home, and now they're in Buffalo. Nashville 5-game win streak finished. 5-2 loss to Anaheim, 3-2 loss to Nashville. And here's the thing about Forsberg, and we talk about having the advantage of big lines, top lines at home, getting that last change, getting a better matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Forsberg, 34 points, 24 home games. On the road, 15 points, 25 road games. He's 11-9 to the under in his last 20 road games on this prop. So very profitable. Stamkos, 15 points, 25 road games. Marchessault, 13 points, 25 road games. It's a team that doesn't have a lot of scoring depth. So on the road, is that amplified even more when Lindy Ruff can match up?
Yeah, I think so. It has to be. Because I think what you just pointed out too, and I didn't really think about it too much, is that the reason why Nashville struggles on the road as much as they do, or even Forsberg, the guy you mentioned, is because of matchups. And Buffalo right now, man, I know the game means nothing, but putting up a touchdown at home the other night, and you got 2 guys that get a hat trick in Tage and Peterka. Peterka. You got to feel pretty good. I mean, and they're scoring a bunch of goals too. So Nashville, I said this to you a week ago. That's a team that I'd be very curious to pay attention to now, see if they can go on a run. You thought they did with a 5-game win streak, but they've looked very lackluster in their 2 losses that they just had against Anaheim and Vancouver.
Something about when lines kind of fit together. It's not often you get 2 hat tricks out of the same line, and that's what you got out of Tage.
Yeah.
Peterka. But Kulik, we were on his shots. I was on his shot ladder the other game. We were on Mikko Rantanen's shot ladder the other game. Guess what? He hit it yesterday. He had 5. So Kulik will probably get his shots here in this spot. But it's nice to know the Peterka Kulik Thompson line looking good. And then that second line, Zucker, Cousins, Tuck. I think they might have found something with these lines. And out of nowhere, you had Ryan McLeod, who was centering the first line. He's now centering the third line. And Jack Quinn and like Zach Benson on your fourth line. Like, they might have too young of a problem, but like there's some talent up and down this lineup. And I mean, losing has done that. Let's be honest here.
That's true. That's true.
Would it be a Yossi shot ladder game if Preds are chasing? Yeah, I always thought that the defenseman shot on goal market is better on the road than at home. Jack Quinn is not too bad. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to stack anything, which I'm suggesting you don't do, Peterka, Kulik, and Thompson would be it, I believe. Oh, no, Kulik. They got Kulik playing on the second power play unit right now with Jack Quinn centering the top one. So Jack Quinn point probably not priced in at that market. But let's go there. Let's go Buffalo money line. I like it. Let's go Forsberg. No points. Vancouver, Dallas. Interesting one. Dallas minus 180. Total sitting at 5.5. Miro Heiskanen is out. That's a giant blow to a team that uses him for 25 minutes a game. Sets up the offense. Plays a ton of minutes. Nils Lundqvist also out, and this was a team that didn't have a lot of defensive depth to begin with. Dallas coming from Vegas, Vancouver coming from Nashville. Together, they're 13-7 to the under over the last 10 games. My lean is on a Todd Harley point, minus 105, because he's going to get 26 minutes, but it seems to be a little priced in already. Explain to me, we bring it up every time, the issues with Miller, the issues with Pettersson, but they're winning.
I know. That's the crazy part, right?
Like, can a team rally around this?
Looks like they are, right? It looks like it's a bigger deal to the public than it is inside the locker room because it's been something that has been going on for a long time. And then when they get to the rink, it's kind of like, okay, guys, whatever it is, park it, let's play the game. And then, you know, if you gotta swear at each other afterwards, go ahead and do it on your own time. But look, I give Rick Tocchet a ton of credit, you know, coaching this team and keeping them focused and still getting them to play really hard and getting this group of players to still get results. Like that's impressive when, you know, when you would hear about the speculated turmoil that's going on within the group, it's very easy to assume that things would be off the rails, but clearly they're not. And ultimately that's all that matters, right? You ask every player in that locker room, they're not there to babysit adults. They're there to play hockey and they're there to, you know, to perform. Oh, my phone just went off. Weird.
That's okay. You might have one of the busiest phones I know. You're also a very quick get back person. That is one of your strengths.
I have my phone on me almost nonstop. So, but it's weird how my ringer was on because
I've never heard it.
Yeah.
Adam's Digest saying Harley assist, Harley point. The Harley assist was appetizing at like plus 140. Did look at that, but I think the points priced in here for the roll at minus 105 because I don't think he was anywhere near that. But he's going to play big minutes. Will Vancouver go with Demko? Not sure. What do we got going on in the chat? People talking about festering. It will fester again. I thought that was the funniest choice of words to describe an issue. Just a bad verb that describes a lot of things. Nick Porto brings up a good point that I don't have any data on. But do days of the week matter for goals? Like, do players get up for Friday night games more because there's usually more people in the crowd? My idea is like the Monday to Friday seems to be like the most bankable non-outlier hockey stuff. Friday can be weird too, but like Saturdays are sometimes just absolutely low scoring duds, and Sundays anything goes. Like, what's your take on that?
Well, players are very they're very routined, right? So they like
victims of schedule, right?
Yeah,
like,
they're 100%. So if you look at the NHL schedule, ideally you get used to playing a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday game, right? Because that's when you get the meat of the games that are played. when you play a Monday game, you play a Wednesday game, you play a Friday game, play a Sunday game. Not to say that guys don't get up for it. It throws them out of routine a little bit. And maybe it throws the crowd out of routine a little bit too, because maybe the crowd is sort of accepting that same, being a victim of routine when it comes to their daily schedule. Like, I know, like, working games as I do for TSN, I say to myself, okay, it's mostly Tuesdays, Thursdays, and then I only work weekends after the football season.
Yeah.
So anything on a Monday or a Wednesday or a Friday
feels different,
right, for me. So I would imagine, and lucky for me with my son being in hockey, his practices are Wednesday, Friday. So it actually works for me. So when you're working on those days, everything just feels out of sync. And maybe for the fans, look, they're coming from work, depending on what day of the week it is. Maybe they want to get there and they just want to relax instead of get there and be a hooligan at the fan in the stand. So I think fans react to the energy that you create with the way you play, and it could be both positive and it could work out negative too.
Lots of questions in the chat. I appreciate that. That is a good insight. Quick one word answer. What was your favorite day to play in?
Oh, Saturday night.
Easy. See,
Saturday,
there you go.
Yeah.
But like, because you get up for it because it's Hockey Night in Canada, like it's like that means something.
Yeah, well, it's just because like it's a weekend, right? So it's like usually you have Sundays off, so you leave it all out. If you don't, unless you play Sunday, Sundays are usually scheduled off days, so you leave it all out there Saturday. But my favorite times to play on Saturday, between 12 and 2. Like, I loved playing afternoon games on the weekend.
But you loved playing it because you could do your own thing after the game, not because of the game.
Well, because here's the thing. Like, at the end of my career, I always sat there on days of a game when I wasn't really that tired for a nap, but I always said to myself, I got to take a nap because it's what my routine was always growing up. And I said, I'm starting to process everything. I'm like, 14 years in the NHL, how many days I wasted sleeping 2-3 hours in the afternoon, right? Because you get up in the morning, you go to the rink, you do your pregame skate, you come back, you have pregame meal, then you go, and between 1 and 4 is like your nap time. And then you get up, you go for a snack, you jump on the bus or drive to the rink, whatever it is. It just seems like there's a lot of waiting that's going on to play the game, when really I just want to get up at a normal time, because when you got to get up to go to a pregame skate, you're getting up earlier than you want to get up. And then get up a normal time, have a big brunch, go right to the rink, warm myself up to play the game. And then afterwards you get out and it's still light outside and you're like, I could go to a nice dinner now and not actually have to feel like I can rush the night away. Because here's the other thing too, like, you play on a Saturday night, guys are taking energy drinks. Your adrenaline is rushing through the roof, right? Depending on what happens in the game, you're still fired up about something. You think it's easy to fall asleep after a game? It's not. Like, guys lay sometimes 2, 3, 4 hours in bed before they actually calm down and go to sleep. So if you're finishing at 11 o'clock, now your whole sleep cycle is off because you're up till 3, you're up early, and you feel like crap the next day. So that's the other thing I like about playing in the afternoon.
Naps. Uncle Carlo likes his naps. I like that.
Yeah.
No, but like anticipation can make, like, I always found like waiting for something always made me sleepy. So there you go. What do you do? What do you do to kill time? Nap. Good one. As in someone said in the chat, sleeping is never wasted. I agree. Someone says, Kings suck. Carlo called it. Guess what? They have now scored 2 or fewer goals in 11 of their last 12 games. That is
crazy.
Insane.
Yeah. Imagine you would hit the over in that game yesterday.
David, hey, hold on. Dad's trip for Predators at Buffalo and Pittsburgh. Oh.
It doesn't mean anything. It's only mom's trips we worry about because San Jose had a dad's trip in
San
Seattle
Jose got the
yesterday.
doors blown off of that.
Yeah.
8:30 league game, still up at 1 a.m. from sure. Yeah, absolutely.
See? There you go.
See? Love it. But one thing is true. One thing I know, back to the days of the week thing, the biggest variance game is the game that Carlo liked to play, and that's the 10 to 2 o'clock game on Saturday afternoon.
12
that
to
game
2.
Finishes
12 to 2.
12 to 2. Sorry, that game finishes 2-1, or it finishes 6-4. Those are the only two possible outcomes for that game. It's all or nothing, it seems, in that game. It's usually Philly or Buffalo playing in it. Let's go. Columbus, Utah. Utah minus 190. As Carlos says, what the hell did they do to deserve to be minus 190? Over under 6.5. Columbus coming off that win versus Vegas yesterday, 2-1 overtime. But now it's probably Daniil Tarasov time, and that's not good for Columbus. He's 1-7 straight up since November. He has one win since November. 408 goals against with an .861 save percentage. Columbus on the second back-to-backs. Oh, shit. They're 0-6 straight up on the year. They haven't won a game on the second of a back-to-back. A lot of that has to do with the goaltending situation, but they've been outscored 10-32 in those games, in those 6 back-to-back losses. Columbus, this is their road run. I don't think it's really jam-packed in the schedule, Carlo, but it went Rangers, Islanders, at Toronto, at Carolina, home, Vegas, and now Utah since January 18th. And they still need to go to Dallas and Buffalo. So that's a big run for a team that's been finding ways to win. Getting points on the road. I think they have points in like 14 of their last 19 road games. But on the road, this is a big one. This is why we're going Columbus team total under 2.5. We talked about their splits a lot during the course of the year. At home, number 1 offense, 4.04 goals per game. On the road, 25th, 2.56. You want to see matchup personified, and we keep talking about that, getting your big guns out there against easy matchups on the road. These teams with not a lot of secondary scoring. I mean, I do like that Ken Johnson line now, but there's not a lot of secondary scoring in Columbus. On the road, they're struggling to get that matchup. I know you I know you think that you're not jumping on Utah at minus 190, nor should. Yeah, no one should take that. But coming off the road, Vegas to Utah, the trip that you've never had to make, not scoring a lot on the road, like this is a total of 6.5. Could you see this being a sleepy game if they want to protect a bad goaltender?
Absolutely, and not just to protect the bad goaltender. Columbus, you mentioned the splits there of them on the road versus at the home. I don't expect this to be a high scoring game, and I actually think if Columbus has a chance to win this game, they need it to be a low scoring game. And if they can give themselves a great chance. I mean, look, Columbus is right in the thick of a playoff race, man. I mean, like with Ottawa continuing to win, Tampa gets a win last night. Columbus right now holds the last wild card spot. They're 7-2-1 in their last 10. They've won 2 in a row. They got Boston on their heels, 1 point behind. They got Detroit on their heels, 2 points behind. Oh, and looky, who climbed into the race? The New York Islanders, only 4 points behind. Hottest team in the NHL right now, winners of 6 in a row. And we called that yesterday against the Flyers. Islanders win.
Jared Hockman in the chat. What's up? High defensive, low event game. Maybe Tarasov under saves too. Yeah, there's multiple paths for Tarasov under saves, and one of those would be getting yanked because he's that bad. Smash that like button. I appreciate it there. Super Louis. Nick Schmaltz power play point from Adam. I'm just looking at the lines. Like it's 6.5 minus 120 to the under. If I can get this at minus 115, it might be a better buy, but there's a reason you're not seeing 6.5s. I don't think the splits for Columbus are being priced in well enough. And this is a Utah team that is featuring Alex Kerfoot on the second line with Barrett Hayton and Josh Doan. So they got rid of Matias Michelli. I don't think he's injured. I think they just sat him last game. They don't know what they're doing. I mean, John Marino's the number 2. He's playing next to Sergachev. There's not a lot to like in goals in this game.
Yeah.
That's what I like. So I think I'm going to take Columbus here on 2.5, but I like the game total under 6.5 at minus 115 or better. Yeah, and that's all. That's a lot of this being priced in grade A fantasy is that the Tarasov situation is bad. And I don't know if he's not even confirmed, but they probably have to go back to him. Overtime game, travel. You're not going to throw Merzlikins back out there, but they have to do something to protect him. And that Utah offense is not something to usually dictate the pace of play. So Columbus might be able to shut things down. Hopefully a low event game. St. Louis, Colorado. Producer, yeah, he was a healthy scratch. Thank you, Grade A Fantasy. St. Louis, Colorado. Producer Mick, bring this up and let's get Carlos. Oh, what does this make you feel like?
Puking.
This Jim Montgomery. He had two different line rushes. Like this was like back and forth, and then he did straight suicides, like blue, red, blue, black.
Well, okay, so notice you see the guys that shoot the puck.
Yeah.
Okay. They have to stop. There's no turning, right? So this was probably something that was enforced before this drill because he wants to make this a very high intense skate. He's not labeling it as a bag skate, but it's an undercover bag skate is what people would normally label it as. Because if you get caught turning on that shot, whistle blows and they probably go back and forth. Like there's a hard emphasis on days like today when guys that go down have to stop because they want to treat it like an undercover bag skate.
Okay. So he went from this drill. Jim Montgomery went from this drill, and I'll put it in the private chat there. Producer Mick, if you can throw it up. There's the other one. Is this the more, when he brings it up, is this the more typical bag skate? So he went from that drill to this drill, which doesn't look like a fun practice at all. And it's not something.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a bagger right there.
Yeah.
How many times did they do it? 1, 2, 3. So, yeah, they're probably counting up. They go once, twice. Oh, now they go blue line. Wow. Yeah, these are called mountains. So you got to go to each line twice, down and back.
Like if you were in Bantam hockey doing that with that effort, you'd probably still get in trouble though, right? Like it's not 100%, like the guys aren't going 100% on this drill.
Well, this is probably at the end of practice where the energy level is probably not as high as it would be at the beginning of practice or in the middle of practice. So these guys are gassed. I'm just trying to pull up St. Louis's last game. So St. Louis, yeah, they're on a 3-game losing streak, and they lost all 3 of those games at home. So, and losing to Vancouver 5-2, that's message sending right there. That's message sending, basically saying, all right, you guys don't want to play in the game. You guys don't want to work hard in the game. We're going to make you work hard in practice.
St. Louis money line plus 160. Tim knows what to do with the boys.
Yes.
But I'm not in love with Colorado right now, right? Like I think they're 1-4 in their last 4. Their power play sits 31st in the league in January, pal. Like that is not great for a team that is kind of struggling. And a lot of it comes down to Mackenzie Blackwood was on fire when they traded him. And guess what? He's falling back to what he probably should be. He's 1-4 straight up in his last 5, 368 goals, 874 save, and 5 straight sub 900 games.
Yeah.
St. Louis, talk to me about like what you expect from a St. Louis team that professionals just got bag skated.
Well, clearly what you want to see as a coach is a response, right? That's why you do something like that, because you're trying to get the players' attention. And so this is I like your thought process on Colorado, because Colorado just had a huge shock to their system. Okay. They first game without, they've lost 4 of their last 5. And in the middle of that, they traded one of their best players. That came to a complete shock and surprise to everyone in their locker room, including, his one of his good pals, Nathan McKinnon, who expressed his feelings about this trade. And it's a very, unfair spot to put a guy like Marty Natchez in, because he's coming in with a ton of excitement. He's like, yeah, I just got traded from Carolina because, I didn't want to sign there this year. I did. And I'm coming to Colorado to play with Nate McKinnon. And everyone's sulking because they got rid of Rantanen to do it. So, that they get a big win on Sunday in New York, mostly because they came out guns a-blazing in that game. They got an early 2-0 lead and ended up winning 5-4. But then you go into New York on the island, and it's a 1-1 game in the third period, and you give up 4 third-period goals to the Islanders. So I think this game, obviously, the more focus that we have is St. Louis because you expect them to, there's probably a players meeting that happens after that practice and says, hey guys, we got 1 or 2 ways to go. We can either use this message that is being sent and rally around it and give ourselves a chance to make a playoff push here, or we could sit here and curse our coach how much we hate him, how much we hate each other, and we could let this season, get away from us. And I think, if you're a prideful player, you sit there and you say, all right, I need to be better. Let's bring our best effort in the next game. Now, they're going into altitude. That's going to create another challenge. But if there's a game to like St. Louis with the value that they're getting, it's this one here because that's the message. Because of the message that was sent and the response you expect to see coming out of that.
Yep. Tim Powell sums it up. Colorado feels like a mess. Bad goaltending, bad special teams. And now some issues that are
just bad vibes, like not just pointing out like certain areas of the team, just bad vibes with that team because you really start to wonder who's happy over there now after the GM just completely blindsided everybody on that team by trading one of their best players.
Great trade, though, by the way. Absolute great trade.
Well, for us it is. Fans it is. Yeah, it's great.
No, I just think Colorado had to do it because they can pay Cale Makar, right? Like,
yeah,
he wasn't going to get Rantanen wasn't going to get more than McKinnon.
Well, so, I don't know if they had to do it. I'm always a believer that you gotta tear on the player's heartstrings, at a certain point. And like, I've never been in this situation, but clearly I've talked to a lot of guys that have, where they want to stay in a certain spot. So, for where they are and for as long as they want, but deadline spurs actions, right? So right now you could say, oh yeah, pay me my money. I want to stay, but I'm not staying unless you pay my money. But the closer this gets to a deadline, now the thought of playing somewhere else away from your comfort zone starts to really tear on the heartstrings. And I mean, look at this example happened to Steven Stamkos the first time he had his contract negotiation with the Tampa Bay Lightning. He went to free agency, he talked to a bunch of teams, and ultimately he came back to Tampa because he just couldn't see himself not being in Tampa Bay and being where he was comfortable.
Like it. It's a mess. We're betting against
it. Hockey's a business, like Super O says.
It is business, and they were kind of forced to make a trade. I like it. Natchez Youth Star from James Ferguson. Absolutely. Natchez is an absolute star. Listen to the way his teammates talk about him, about being very underrated. A few Spitting Chiclet podcasts brought light to that as well. Let's go. Friday, 4-gamer. Dog under in Columbus. Dallas and Vancouver's a tough one right now with missing defenseman, and then the Buffalo. Let's go. Buffalo money line. That's where we are. Appreciate everybody there in the chat today. It was a good Friday. Active little chat. Stay tuned for Before You Bet at noon. Covers YouTube and X. Thank you, producer Mick, as always. And as you notice, let's hope Bag Skates, Jimmy Montgomery forces an issue with St. Louis in the 9:00 game tonight. And then another big slate Saturday, and we'll figure out it from there. But tough sledding. Someone did ask earlier, like, when do guys check out? We kind of touched on that yesterday in the show. When do people start thinking 1, 2, 3 Cancun and jumping ship? I think we've already started to see it. The combination of a 2-week vacation in the middle of the season is insane.
Yeah.
Plus all the injury bugs that are going around. right? We're talking about the low event third periods again last night. All combines for some low scoring stuff. And Cash Campbell says, what games you broadcast? Oh, our French interpreter.
Yeah.
Carlo Colaiacovo and the Montreal.
Cash, I am the Habs analyst on TSN regional games. And then once in a while, I do some Jets, I do some Sens, and I get a handful of Maple Leafs games. So, yeah, hockey analyst for TSN.
The suit game is strong with Carlo. It has to be.
I got some new ones too.
Did you?
Yeah.
What's like for a new suit? Like you just go in there and the guy says, this is what's fashionable, this is what's new, or you got an idea?
Well, we have a wardrobe consultant at TSN that advises certain colors and patterns to choose from that look good on TV. So we go off of that, but I also try to focus on what I don't have and get something that I could add to my collection. So I did a full black one this time because it's crazy. I don't have a full black suit.
Are you going to a wedding?
Well, no, it's just like, sometimes just a plain black. Like I have black with patterns, right? And different designs and different shades. And then I did a purple sort of texture. And then I did a full green. Green's a hot color on TV right now.
All right. That's good to know. Yeah. I'll go out and buy myself a green suit for next show Wednesday if we ever get some winners. Let's go. Boog says, with the cost of eggs, it's 123 Sarasota, Florida. Don't talk about eggs around Carlo. He's got to go eat a dozen of them right now.
I am.
But they're cheap. They're cheap on this side of the border, not like you guys. But I appreciate it. Great week, chat-wise, information-wise. We brought a lot of stuff out. If the bets aren't winning, we're at least giving you some stuff to talk about, some stuff to think about. Make your own bets. Absolutely. NHL Prop Picks presented by Sports Interaction. Buy covers. I'm Josh Ingles. He's Carlo Colaiacovo. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe. See you back here next Wednesday, 10 a.m.
Ciao.